And although they had about 7 councils, there's 2 major councils that they make reference to in history: ecclesiastically, historically, lawfully, canon law, etc. And that is the 325 and usually the 381. These are the 2 principles. This is when they composed up the creed that you know today as Christianity. You understand? Now, what they did during that period of time is they was altering the documents and the scripts that they robbed from Luxor. That's the great Moabite library on the north coast of Tamari that they call in Egypt right now, or Alexandria, that they named after Alexander the Great, who was also fighting the Moors. You understand? So Alexandria in Misraim, that you call Egypt now, of the ancient Moabite kingdom or empires, because it spanned the seas, is Luxor. The world's greatest library was situated there. Not just there, but also here in Toledo, in Ohio, here on this side. And they burned them. And they have a rule in government and in the church, and it's called indexus prohibitorum. As a matter of fact, that's even in the dictionary. You want to hear what it says? Now look at this. I'm showing you again how an ordinary unabridged dictionary can educate you. But the only thing that blocks you is our emotions, our beliefs, our deication, where we don't want to deal with reality. All right? Now remember that. Now this is indexus prohibitorum. These are fundamental things that you must understand, because when you walk into those courtrooms, don't think that it's not used, because the judges are in the concept of this information. This is not what's proceeding across the floor, but he is in the mental concept of it. When he puts on that robe, that cloak, you know what that cloak represents? Huh? It represents the authority of the sovereign. It represents the cloak of the Moors, the Abba. Just like when you put your bolero on, your boleros and your vest and your cloak and your Moorish costume, that's what it represents, the authority. Same thing with the cloaks they put in the church when they sing gospel songs. Belong to you. Same robe that the Ku Klux Klan wears when he puts on a conical hat and doesn't terrorize you with your costume from your ancient white brotherhood that's over 50,000 years old. And you be going out to lunch. And it belongs to you. Scaring you with your own stuff. Duh. Now let's go into, here you go. Remember, this is related. It may not seem to be, but remember, when you're suing, the concepts that you have in your mind are at the root of whether you walk or not. At the root of whether or not you are successful. And keep this in mind. The ultimate key to the conclusion or the superior position of the plaintiff in a suit is what? Constitutional principles. That's the ultimate test. You know, someone may acquiesce or give up early and lose, and they know they're right. Why do you think states try to keep things from hitting the Supreme Court, which is the only law, the only true court? Because they know they can't beat you. But they know they ain't going to go there because you're usually arguing wrong. You're usually arguing in a false jurisdiction, never challenge the jurisdiction, right? You keep calling a magistrate a judge when you ain't checked the record. And so what they get you to agree to fraud along the way, then they got you in the state's court and they just bounce you around till you're economically broke. See it? And then you start arguing how you feel, or just some case law which the attorney will try to lead you to, when you should be talking constitutional principles and stay there. You know, any what you call lawyer, they're phonies, worth their salt. You know, they bounce you around, take your lunch money, take your savings, then get your grandma's money, and then when they see you ain't got no more, they either throw you to the dogs or how much you can pay, You understand the knights? You bought your freedom. You ain't bought freedom. You bought the privilege, and then you so-called win. And then you ever notice, if you really pay attention, when they really get tired of the BS and they want to win the case, they start arguing constitutional principles? And the case either is resolved and that's it. Why don't they go there in the first place? Because they can't make money off you. Because you don't need them. You should have went there yourself. Because the Constitution is for all free national beings. But in order to use it, you must be in propria persona juris. Most of us are not. Have we been? Most of us have been color people. Right? Huh? I'm right wrong. Huh? So we're already wrong, so we don't even have the power to challenge the jurisdiction of the magistrate who's fraudulently telling you that he's a judge. When he told you he's a judge, the first thing you should ask in a writ in the nature of discovery, because they're accusing you of something, was in that list was a DOAO, Delegation of Authority Order, where he derived his authority and what principle does he operate for. And when they start talking about get a lawyer, Bar Association asks him, is he practicing law from the bench? Is he soliciting for a private corporation, or is he upholding the Constitution upon which he took his oath? Because I got a copy right here that says that's your first obligation. You tell me your obligation to the Bar Association, a private corporation, is that in the Constitution? Watch him get mad and get green. And if a lawyer come up to you talking about what he's going to represent you, if he don't come with the Constitution of both the state and the federal, he ain't representing you, he's representing the court. Conflict of interest. Judge. Remember the Bar Association of England with a branch in the United States of America? Officer of the court, right? Prosecutor. Remember the Bar Association of England, branch in the United States, etc. Officer of the court. The judge, and them PDs that they keep putting on you, attorneys, etc., esquire. Member of the Bar Association, officer of the court. Does anyone here know what this phrase conflict of interest is? Do you recognize that that's a conflict of interest?